Hey everyone, Xena here. Unfortunately, this video is not going to be like any of my other videos that you guys watch on here or any of the streams that I have on Twitch because it's going to be talking about something a little, a little disheartening to say the least. See, the thing is, one of the games that I stream is Honkai Star Rail, and just like the title of this video, unfortunately, I'm no longer interested in really streaming it, playing it, or even interacting with the game itself. And that's because there's just for a few reasons. And part of it is me to an extent, but most of it is just the way that Hoyoverse has treated the game. And I'm going to go ahead and go into a little bit of detail about why I am no longer going to be playing it. So, the first reason is I'm not going to be playing the game because of the amount of FOMO that has quickly become of the game. Now, as anybody who knows gacha games and plays gacha games understands, these are kind of money making games. They're meant to just be quick games that you can play on the go, whether it's on your mobile device or you can load up on your PC, or with some of the games that have been coming out and their capabilities, they've been adding PS4 and PS5 extensions for the game. So you could load them up on your PS4, PS5 as well and play them there. The problem is that the free to play market is dying in this game. And as somebody who was a very low spender for the most part in this game, it's disheartening to see that in order to get the characters that I want or that I'm interested in, I have to go and build up quite a bit of savings in order to get them. Because unfortunately for me, as anybody who's seen my streams knows, I had very, very good gacha luck at the beginning of Honkai Star Rail. I mean, I pulled Zila on her first iteration in 1.0. I pulled her in a single warp. Like, that's incredible. Unfortunately, I didn't really catch it on stream, and that's my negligence of not providing that content. But I pulled her in a single warp, and I was so ecstatic. I was like, damn, this is so cool. I got the limited 5-star character, somebody who I think is a really, really interesting and amazing character, and I got her in a single warp. This is amazing. And then my luck continued because I went into Silver Wolf's banner. I saw Silver Wolf. I was like, damn, she's really cool. I really love Silver Wolf. Had a very interesting style of gameplay, but I just thought she was a really cool character. Kind of bratty, kind of sassy, and not afraid to break the rules and have fun. And I got her in about 31 pulls, and then I did a random 10 pull and got her light count. I thought that was amazing. And my luck continued as well. And I got, Locha in 36 pulls. I got Blade pretty early. I got Kafka pretty early. And I was going strong because I was getting characters on the banners without losing 50/50s. I was getting them well before Soft Pity. And it was great. And then Penacony hits. And I managed to, between Kafka and Black Swan, lose some 50/50s, but for the most part, still get the characters on the banners. But it still took a little bit, probably like 60 or 70 pulls. And I just chalked it up to, oh, that's just the luck balancing itself out. No big deal, whatever. But then, after that, my luck shot up a little bit. I got Sparkle pretty early. I got her Light Cone pretty early. And then ever since Sparkle's banner, I've had to hard pity every lost 50/50 or every one 50-50, and still, if I lose the 50-50, I had to hard pay that. And it was just, it didn't feel good to play. The banner system has just been god awful. 50-50 is horrible, and it should honestly not exist in a game. But that just really aids the whole FOMO thing with the game, and I hate it so much. The character that I pulled in the least amount of pulls recently was Ling Sha on her rerun during the Herda's banner. I got her in 40 pulls. I haven't gotten very lucky since then, and it's just been horrible. So yeah, the banner luck is just really, really bad, and it needs a major adjustment before I even consider coming back to. The biggest reason why Star Rail has become very pay to win and FOMO is because of the fact that, for the second reason of why I'm stopping, is they have bloated the in-game content so hard to where you can't clear it unless you pull the newest character. And for whatever reason, ever since, I would honestly say Boot Hill at this point, ever since Boot Hill came out, every character has just been the most broken character in the game, and they've done a shit ton of damage for no reason. And I don't get it. Like, I understand characters like Acheron, Fei Xiao, even Aglaya and the Herda doing tons of damage. That's their role. They're a DPS. But characters like Aventurine, Tribi, Ling Sha, and Hyacinth coming out and just doing almost 1,000,000 damage on release with semi-good relics is far beyond what a support character's role is. They're not supposed to be hitting high damage numbers. And this has really thrown the balance of the game way out of line. And now I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, Zena, you play Final Fantasy XIV. And in that game, according to JoeCat...
So if you don't contribute, you belong in the garbage chute. So don't get so hung up on the role names. Everybody is a DPS.
Every role's a DPS. Exactly. JoeCat is correct. Every role's a DPS. But I'm here to tell you that that is how the game is designed to be played. It is a team game where 8 people come together to raid and do a hard fight, or a fight in general, and they're supposed to contribute to the team. This game isn't like that. You build your own 4 characters, and they have a role that they're supposed to play. Healers are supposed to heal, shielders are supposed to shield, and DPS are supposed to DPS. And it's hard for those roles to be fulfilled if every character is supposed to do 1,000,000 damage just for existing on banner. And the third point is, continuing basically on with the in-game content, the power creep. I have covered this multiple times in many streams, and especially in the podcast that I had with Proto and Zeta. We mentioned that the power creep in Star Rail is far beyond what it should be for a PvE game. Now, this does also play into the FOMO aspect. This plays into the fact that Star Rail is starting to become a super money-grubbing, money-hungry, give me all of your money, pay me, and go into debt mindset for this kind of game. And as somebody who has put some money into the game, I thought that this would be fine, because, then I could clear the content with any character I want. And, like, as you can see here, I have an E6 Kafka. I put money to get her, yeah. I paid money to get E6 Kafka. And it took me 2 banners, because I didn't throw it all in one banner. But I have an E6 S1 Kafka. She's very well built. She has some of the best stats in the game. Probably some of the best stats of any character on my team. But she can't hold a candle to the Herda, let alone Fei Xiao, Acheron, anyone like that. Now, my Acheron is kind of built. My Fei Xiao is well enough built, but she's not as ridiculously built as my Acheron or my Kafka. And yet my Kafka is just doing far less damage than either of them. Granted, Hoyo is going to buff Kafka, and I will probably go back and just take a look and see what my E6 S1 Kafka could do with the new relics and with the buffs. But I highly doubt I'm going to be using Kafka, or really even just playing the game much after that. But that being said, it's just very unfair for the power creep to be the way it is, because people are in a lot worse state than I am when it comes to spending money in this game. Like, there are people out there who see a character and they're like, "Oh, this is the character. I need this character. I have to play with this character. They're so cool." And they spend money on the character to either get them because they lost the 50-50 and get their light cone, or to get them and get copies of them and like supercharge eidolons of the character. But the problem is that character that they just spent money on because of the power creep, because of the way that Hoyo has been marketing their characters and their new banners, that character is pretty much irrelevant after about 3 patches. Like, Acheron still kind of can hold on because of the way her kit works, but Fei Zhao is just not great. Rappa and Firefly fell off very hard after Amphorius was introduced. Dot has been bad since right after Black Swan was released. Like, as soon as Fei Xiao was released, Dot was just non-existent. You couldn't use a Dot team in any endgame content. And on top of that, the story content, the story bosses are getting even harder, to the point where you have to have a newer character in order to even fight them well enough. Like, I understand strategy and getting walled by a mechanic or a fight and having to adapt that strategy, but you shouldn't have to resort to pulling out every last stop that you can in order just to defeat a story boss that shouldn't be difficult in the first place. Or if they are difficult, it shouldn't take you forever just to figure out how to beat them. So the boss that I'm talking about is the Nikador boss in 3.0, the Lance of Fury, Fallen Lance, whatever his title is. That boss in the story. I didn't have Ling Sha. I was still using Locha from 1.2, 1.3, whenever he came out. I think it was 1.2. I built Locha. I have an E1 Locha. He should not be horrible, but he was not able to keep up with Nikador's damage output. So I wound up switching to using Fu Xuan. And I tried using her, and I have an E1 S1 Fu Xuan. And even she was having trouble keeping up with Nikador's damage, to the point where she died, and then I just wiped, because that's what it was. So then I switched to using both of them, and I still barely managed to squeak out with using them and Acheron. Because I didn't have the Herta when I fought the Nikador boss. This was during Oglaya's banner. I had Acheron as the best that I could do, because they didn't release another lightning DPS other than Motza, and follow-up attacks was not going to be your ticket to go, because Nikador is not weak to wind. So I didn't use Fei Xiao. I didn't use Robin. I didn't use Topaz. I used the elements that would break his toughness, so I could get some good damage off on him with my other characters that weren't going to break his toughness. And it still didn't matter. On top of that, the bosses in the game are starting to get even more ridiculous, and it's kind of harmful to the game. Like, for example, the Hule boss. When he was first released, if you didn't just bog him down and either stun him or movement lock him or control his speed or his attack gauge, or wherever he is in the turn order, if you didn't bog him down, he was going to take 6 turns and take somebody of your team out and kill you. Like, it wasn't going to be good. It sucked so much. And then when he was a boss in MOC, it just was even worse, because that content's supposed to be hard. And here he is immediately killing one of your carries because he didn't care. And it was just a not very fair boss. On top of that, the some of the breaks in the game are just bad. Like Ice Break is terrible. You get a little bit of dot damage, they get frozen, and then some of the bosses are just fast enough to not care and take a turn anyways. Like that's just not fun. It's not innovative gameplay. It's not strategy to go around that. It's like you get punished for breaking the boss. And that's not how a game should be. If you do something, if you achieve something, you shouldn't be punished for it. The only way you could do anything with him or against him was to use imaginary break, but unfortunately the only way to get that would be to use Silver Wolf or use Welt and use his ultimate. And even then, he probably had a good enough resistance to not even care. So it just became it just was a bad boss to fight. And then on top of that, you have all the bosses in MOC, their health is bloated beyond all measure. Like you can't go in there without expecting a boss to have 18 million health. And the damage numbers you're doing, if you don't have a top 1% rank 10 or higher damage dealing character that's the current banner character in the game, then you're going to have a hard time, at the very least, 10 cycling the whole thing, let alone zero cycling. Like, I didn't care about zero cycling. I wanted to do better each time, but it just wasn't happening. I would go in with my team. I would have these really well built characters, go in with them. Sure, they were a few patches old, but it didn't matter because, I thought they were good enough. And the game said, no, they're not good enough. You need the current banner character to even remotely even have a chance to clear the fight within 10 cycles. So it's not healthy for a game to do that kind of thing. Now, I'm not saying I'm against companies making money. I have made this point many times on many streams, in many videos that I've recorded. I don't have a problem with companies making money. You have workers, they need to be paid for their work. But at the same time, you shouldn't revolve your service or your game strictly around squeezing your players of every last penny that they have. That really starts to lose the trust of the people who enjoy your game or enjoy what you put out. So that's another reason why I'm just not going to be playing this game anymore, or at the very least streaming it. As of right now, I'm not going to play it. I'm just burnt out and fed up with the FOMO and the lack of consideration for free to play. But at the same time, I can't just sit here and excuse what Hoyo's done with their game. So, until such a time that Hoyoverse fixes Honkai Star Rail to be more player friendly, less power creep, less bloated enemy stats, and they just let you play the game with the characters you want to play, I will no longer be streaming or playing the game outside of checking out the Kafka rework. The real problem and why this really hurts me is I actually did enjoy the story. I enjoyed 1.0's story, and I'm probably one of the few people in the game who enjoyed the Xianzhou Luofu. Especially since the War Dance really boosted the Luofu in pretty much the whole story. Yeah, it was a lesser story. The Luofu's a lesser world / faction compared to Penacony and Belobog. but I still enjoyed it. That's my personal opinion. I thought it was enjoyable. But with the way that the game has progressed since Penacony, it's just been bad. And ever since Sparkle's banner, my luck has been god awful. I have gone to hard pity pretty much on almost every banner that I can count. And then on top of that, after losing the 50-50, regardless of whether or not it was soft pity or hard pity, I still had to go again to soft pity minimum just to get the character, which means I had to spend anywhere from 130 to 150 pulls just to get a character I wanted. And I don't think that's right. I've had zero time and zero capability of saving for any character in this game after Sparkle. I was able to save for Kafka, and I did very well to save for her and then spent a little bit of money to get her and max her out. But I can't, for honesty, I can't say that the game has progressed in a good manner since then. And like I said, it really hurts because I enjoyed the story up to Amphorius. Now, the last reason why I'm not going to play this game anymore is because the story has become far too bloated, as well as less than interesting. I've mentioned before on stream multiple times that I felt the story was on the cusp of being good with 3.0, 3.1, and then it just fell off after that. It was not great. Then 3.2 happened. And I will admit, the story picked up and became better. 3.2 was the best story patch that I played. I haven't played 3.3, and honestly, I'm kind of not wanting to play it, despite the fact that I've heard that people say it is or has been good. I just don't have the drive anymore. And again, like I said, it's really disheartening because I enjoyed the story up to Amphorius. And this goes into it even more. The story, I've mentioned it before on stream a few times, and I know I probably exaggerated and drug it out a little bit, but it took me 12 hours per patch from 3.0 to 3.2 just to do the story content. And a lot of that was just fluff, bloated dialogue, and half-hearted and half-assed written story. It wasn't that enjoyable. It took me 2 streams, 2 6-hour streams, just to do story. I'm just baffled at the fact that they wanted us to go through that much story. And again, I understand that it's a streamer's job to extend the content that they produce, as well as any story or events or gameplay, to give reactions and to comment on it and provide entertainment. But I shouldn't have to sit for a whole half a day doing story for a game that barely has a lot of content to begin with. Sure, you have like the simulated universe, the divergent universe, Golden Gears, and all of that. You have all of that content. And I understand that that content is still going to be there, but it's just old news, it's not interesting, or I've already gotten all the achievements and rewards from it, and I just don't care. But I don't think I should have to spend 12 hours doing a story quest for little to no reward. On top of that, for the story to be subpar. Like, that sucks so much. And another thing to play off of that is a lot of that stuff in the story quest could have been put into a companion quest. We haven't had a companion quest since, I want to say, The last companion quest we had was Yoon Lee. I think Yoon Lee was the last companion quest we had. It might have been Jiao Cho. I'm not 100%. I'll have to double check and correct myself. But the last companion quest we have was before Amphorius, and we didn't even get a companion quest for Sunday, for Fugue, for Rappa, for Fei Xiao, or Ling Sha. We might have had one for Ling Sha. I'll have to double check. But I don't remember us having a companion quest since, at the very latest, 2.5. 2.5 was at least 4 months ago, if not 6. That that baffles me. They give us, at the end of the Penacony arc, 2 characters on banners that everyone has been hyped for. Everyone has been hyped for Sunday since we fought him in the story. Everyone has been hyped for Fugue ever since we realized that Fantilia took her over in the CNJO. Everybody, like me, I love Ting Yun so much. Anybody who's been around my channel, anybody who's been in my community, in my Discord, know that I am an avid Ting Yun lover. And I loved seeing her come back, but at the same time, she just didn't get the justice other than a 3-hour story where she kind of met up with Yukong. I wanted to see more of that, but we didn't get much other than that introduction with her. We didn't get to go around and actually learn about her, to learn what she was like, what she actually was like before the Fantilia thing. And like I said, it hurts so much to see my absolute favorite character in the game just not get anything other than a glow up, and then essentially become useless in combat, in the gameplay, because they want to introduce new mechanics. So they're going to make every other character useless after they start introducing this new mechanic. And it's just exasperating. It's exhausting, and I'm just tired of it. So, to anybody who either skipped this far ahead in the store into the video just to get the cliff notes, or for those of you who have just heard me ramble for the last ever so long, I'll sum it up by just saying that the reasons why I've stopped playing are the power creep, the FOMO, the absurd amount of scaling for bosses in in-game content, the lack of being able to play who you want in content, the lack of companion quest to take away from the story length, and the length of the story. Like, if I want to enjoy and provide content for this sort of thing, I want to be able to do it in a timely manner so I can enjoy putting out content for other games. I'm a variety streamer. I don't want to be the Honkai Star Rail streamer. I want to enjoy other games. I want to get into more raiding in Final Fantasy XIV. I want to get into more content with Wuthering Waves and the other gacha games that are coming out. I want to get into some of the games that I have backlogged that I'd love to play on stream, but it's going to be hard to do that if I have to sit down for 2 6-hour streams just to make sure I cover the Honkai Star Rail content. And that's just to do story. That's not to do events or farming or anything. So, with a heavy heart, I will miss Honkai Star Rail for what it was, and I will no longer be putting out content for the game. So, look forward to seeing other content like Wuthering Waves, and when it comes out, Arknight's Enfield, Neverness to Everness, and Silver Palace. Those are the games that I'm going to be playing as well. But for those of you who have stuck through this video, thank you so much for being here and supporting me and the channel. And I look forward to updating you and providing even more content like I described, and then some. So please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me your feelings about Star Rail, what it was when you played, and what it's become in your mind. If you enjoy it still, if you don't, either way, just be happy, be safe, and have yourselves a wonderful day.